What's up, everybody? We're back with another movie spoiler review. And today, I'm going back with some classic kung fu movies. One of my first introductions of Jackie Chan films. Because I think I might have saw, I don't know, it's hard to say. Between this and Drunken Master is one of my, tied between the two movies I saw Jackie Chan for the first time. And became like a huge fan of. Um, because I remember as a kid I watched Twin Dragons, and you know, it was really really fun. And Jackie Chan is like an amazing martial artist, and I had an inkling this, him being like a twin thing is obviously fake because I didn't know what it was called back then. But of course, we know now is green screen. They used, and Jackie obviously shot two different takes. One for him being this pianist named John Ma, while this street tough named Boomer in other shots. And yeah, this is really really fun, and it's like you know it, just the right amount of campiness that we expect from Jackie Chan, but mixed with like the badasses of martial arts. Oh, oh Jesus! Thing fell over. Okay. But yeah, uh, Jackie Chan plays dual roles here. Like I say, he's playing John Ma and Boomer. You also got Maggie Chung as Barbara, Nia Lee Chi as Tammy, Teddy Robin as Tyson, uh, uh, Sylvia Chang and James Wong as the twins' parents, and uh, oh yeah, those are pretty much the key people. But it was back in 1965 where the twins were born, and in the hospital there's this Chinese gangster named Crazy Kong, played by Kirk Wong, who was being hauled in for medical care, but he also is under like guard because he is a you know a criminal kingpin in a sense, or at least up and coming, like a big deal. And he's while trying to make his escape, he ends up taking one of the twins as like hostage, but then like while he's making an escape, like tosses it, but luckily it was found by this uh, drunken woman who's probably you would think like maybe like a possible like prostitute or something like that, who works at a brothel. And for all intents and purposes, the parents and everybody else think like this dude killed a kid, and he was brought in like, and he should have been locked up for life. Possibly should have gotten the death penalty. Uh, so the parents are broken up, obviously, because they lost one of the children. It's weird they never had like any other children beyond that, but uh, so John Ma was raised, you know, as, like a nice home in America, because that's where they moved to. I guess like it was too dangerous in China after that tragic ordeal, so they lived in America, raised a kid as who turned out to be like a went to a profession as a classically trained pianist. And Jackie Chan is like loves music. Don't know if he actually is uh uh like proficient in the piano, or if it's just like they taking a shot at somebody else playing the piano and kind of cut it to the way where it's like it looks like Jackie's doing it. I don't know. That might be more than likely the case. But Boomer, you know, being raised in China, grew up as like a thug, learned how to protect himself. But not a thug, but it's like he grew up in the streets, being raised by this woman who and the other with females in the brothel kind of like looked after him. He met up with Tyson, and they kind of grew up in the streets. And now these two will end up intersecting again in a hilarious ways. Now, of course, this little shrimp dude Tyson always getting Boomer into trouble. It's like, oh, we're gonna get to this club because this girl that like you know, I want to meet up with this girl I met, and there's this girl who is singing in this club. Um, uh, Tammy. No, no, it's Barbara who's a club singer, and Tammy is some kind of rich socialite. 1 second here. Uh, yeah, it's some kind of rich socialite who her father is trying to push her on towards Yang Ma, who comes to China for a production. And it's kind of funny. A lot of it's pretty dang on funny. Uh, 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 Tammy, who has this kind of thug boyfriend because she likes, because the typical, you know, girl is always into the bad boys, and because he's like, you know, he's like a fighter or whatever like that, but dude can't fight for shit. Especially you see him compared to uh, Boomer, who they mistake to be John Ma, because John Ma never grew up learning how to fight. Uh, he's fairly middle class to high class status thanks to his career. Uh, and of course, when I'm looking at the father pushing his daughter towards somebody like John Ma, it's like, yeah, if a guy has a daughter, that is what you typically would do because, like, daughter's decently young, has a very low body count, probably thankfully, probably no more outside than that just one dude who's worth two sticks rubbed together, and he's trying to make sure his daughter has some like security with like a nice guy, a respectable family, and all that other stuff, which every father of a daughter will want. That's like we look down on fathers who do things like this, but like it's usually women, and it's like, yeah, I don't know, y'all don't think like guys, and like if we have daughters, we want them to have like, no outside relation, not I don't say outside relation, but like very minimum dudes they probably hooked up with. If they hook up with guys, each one better be like a decent guy, at least for the time, and if things doesn't work out, is what it is, but don't go all around, hooking up with like various people. No. It's like, that's why the guys in the girl's life, where it's uncle, brother, male cousin, grandfather, anybody who's not trying to F her are the ones to be vetting dudes that, they should be with. At least that's how it should be done. But, it's like it's always something that throws a monkey wrench in that kind of program. That's why I probably would prefer with not having a daughter. I don't want to go through that BS. But anyway, Boomer and Tyson go to this club, and they see Barbara singing, and then this gangster who happens to work for Crazy Kong, who still in prison. It was all coming full circle, and he's singing along with Barbara, who decides to like walk off the stage. This insults him, and of course, Tyson and Boomer step in to help, and of course, they had the upper hand momentarily because like, he had this fake gun, and as he's trying to walk out without getting anything escalating any further, this little shit wanna like trying to be like a big man. I don't know if it's a Napoleon complex or whatever because his diminutive height, but he's trying to, take this gun, but as a fake, they find out, they get overwhelmed. And by the way, you don't see this in many movies, especially fighting movies, where they don't, I mean, they do, but in this one moment, they pile on top and fight as a unit against Jackie or Boomer. And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of people who review certain movies like this, and they always point out like everybody wants like, because yeah, it's a movie, so they all gotta get that one turn to, instead of if you're trying to be like a gang, then fight as a gang instead of one at a time, so the guy can pick you off one by one. And I'm pretty sure it happens in other films too, but it's so rare you can't really single it out. But here is a good example of like, yeah, they all pile on him. Take them on one at a time. Don't take them on one at a time. Just go after him. So, in order to avoid getting their legs broken, Boomer with quick thinking, it's like, you need like we'll race. We're good drivers and stuff like that. And so they challenge them. I was like, okay, meet us at this spot tomorrow. And so they turn them loose. They make a deal. So they, on the way out, Tyson, it turns out, because Barbara points out, like, I never met this guy before. This pisses off Boomer, rightfully so. Like, you guys in trouble with some criminals over a girl you haven't, like, have any interactions with before now. And it's like, and this little shit gives him a whole lot of trouble. It's like, why are you even friends with this? You feel bad for him because he's like, half your size. It's like you kick him like a football. He's so small. He's not that small, but you can get my point. And it's like, this dude is not fucking worth it. This is kind of like those kind of friends you leave behind after high school. You know what I mean? So of course you don't get to see like the actual race, but they mentioned they came in second. So now they're gonna be looking for them, for work or whatever like that to pay off what they owe, whatever. At the same time, John Ma shows up, the whole thing with the daughter and everything like that. Of course, she has no really that interest in him because she doesn't think of him as nothing but like a bougie kind of guy. But because she's like wants that kind of like thuggish qualities, I guess, in a dude. But Boomer shows up in that same hotel trying to get one of these doormen who they had some prior association with to let them lend one of these cars so that way they can race. Of course, they go try to run away, or at least get out of China. And of course, like you wonder what happened with Boomer's like adopted mother. You see her in like you see like a scene where she passed away, so you at the grave site and everything like that. So that's all Boomer had as like a parental figure. So they try to hightail it out of here, but then again, busted. They go on this high speed boat chase, and there's like, I doubt it's true with actual twins, but um, it's always kind of like a movie joke where one twin does something that affects the other twin, where he's on this boat when he's bouncing around while John Ma is in a restaurant with uh, Tammy, and he's jerking around and he's feeling kind of seasick. Uh, and as Jama, as he's like air tapping with his fingers, because he constantly plays the piano and he's like kind of like does this, and it affects Boomer as he just unknowingly starts tapping his fingers in the air. And when one sneezes, the other sneezes. Obviously, it's kind of like it might be some truth to that, but the movie kind of heightens that to kind of like a funny degree. So people run across one of the brothers, confusing them with the other, and before we get into that, the boat chase ends where like Tyson ends up getting into an accident at the same time with the boss, and they end up in the same freaking hospital. And of course, they, force Boomer to help them with a job. They hand him a phone, so like he has to pick up right away when they call. Otherwise, Tyson will be in trouble. So, Boomer and Barbara meet up at the same hotel to hash out a strategy to help Tyson. But she's not interested in Tyson, despite Boomer's like, you should talk with Tyson and woo woo. But then Tammy's thug supposed boyfriend shows up, getting all jealous and starts attacking. Well, she thinks he's attacking John Ma, but it actually is Boomer, and Boomer kicks his ass. And of course, he's all cartoony about it and everything like that. It's a comedic action comedy. So he's trying to grab stuff, and it's like it's like so sober over dramatic. And so Tammy is like so infatuated because like, oh my god, he's so strong. He's it's like he fighting and everything like that, and so she leads him up to the John Ma's hotel room, and they end up having sex while John Ma and Barbara end up hanging out, thinking like, where'd you get this fancy car? And it's like, I don't know why John Ma, because he's so polite and everything like that, but it's like, you want me to take you somewhere? It's like he, for all intents and purposes, he's kind of like he is like a decent, like a celebrity, and it's like, you can be nice, but it's like you kick this girl out. You don't know the strange. You don't know the strange girl, and he points out like, why you keep calling me Boomer? It's like it's like okay, kick this girl out. Why are you inviting her in your car and just telling her to kick her ass out? But he ends up taking her to the stage where he's gonna play, and he's trying to practice, and he's showing her like his musical talent, and she's very infatuated. It's like, this is beautiful, because her being a singer, of course, she probably has a link towards that. It's like, oh, she infatuated with him because like, oh, you can play, and so he teaches her how to play the piano, and they end up kissing, and more hijinks ensues. Eventually, as these two go to the same bathroom the next day, they end up bumping each other, and they don't ask like, okay, well, you should be asking the specific questions like, okay, why do you look like me? Like, I don't. They seem like they get surprised and they go on with a casual conversation. Uh, uh, like, oh, this ain't nothing. Instead of possibly going to a hospital or seeing some police officer to run like some tests or something like that to see like what the hell going on. But they go on like, oh, no wonder that person think I was you, and they keep calling me boomer and stuff like that. And so they figure that they go there 7 ways. They ain't gonna continue on beyond this. They go back to their respective right people, but then they realize they switched phones, and so they try to meet up with each other, but they end up going in the opposite direction. And so the thugs take John Mott, thinking he's Boomer, onto this heist, trying to help their boss escape from this prison transport, while Tammy takes Boomer, thinking he's John Ma, to the his orchestra where he's supposed to be playing in front of like a live, staged in front of an audience. And of course, Boomer's freaking out because it's like so many people, and he's calling John Ma as like, because they can't get out of their respective situations. They're stuck. And John Ma just tells him, like, just, which is obviously is probably wrong, but he's just telling him to move. Well, he's using words. I imagine it's probably real words that, conductors use in order to how, like, grammatically, word, like what they, certain movements with the stick to, like, conduct an orchestra and a group of musical players to do certain things. But Boomer ends up like just waving his arms around like this, like, and they just play, and it's obviously it should be nonsensical, but it turns out you play very beautifully, while John Ma, who doesn't know the streets of China, on some Fast and Furious stuff, managed to help with the escape of this convict. And so the guys end up going back to the hotel room, and Tammy shows up. And of course, Boomer hides upstairs. And of course, he decides then he needs to take a bath. But despite him warning John Ma not to fool around with Barbara, because that's Tyson's girl, and blah, blah, blah. But then he's wanting to fool around with Tammy. And of course, this is part of my favorite scene. This has always stuck with me because I think it was in a trailer or something, or like not trailer, but it's like it was playing on cable TV, because it's like this movie when this movie came out in 1992, of January 1992, and I might have seen a trailer, or just cable TV announcing like a movie that's coming out on like a certain channel, like look out for this, and they cut up like a little, essentially a trailer for the movie showing up on a particular cable network. And I remember this scene, this whole bathroom scene stuck with me. It was so funny, where Boomer, who's just in like a towel, and like John Ma is still wearing his clothes, and Tammy's like, oh well, I might as well like take a shower. I'm feeling like all sticky. And of course, there's like this covering panel where people go behind to change clothes, and as he's trying to lecture Boomer, he's sitting on the edge of the tub, and he pushes John Ma towards like the panel. It's like, oh, I thought you wasn't gonna take a bath. I guess I changed my mind. And then, and of course, like, as she turned around, he pushes Boomer in the tub, and it's like, why'd you put your clothes back on? Oh, I guess I changed my mind again. This is one of those quirky things. He's like, oh, I just can't figure you out. It's like, obviously something else. You gotta know something. Like, why would he's not Superman. He can't change his clothes that doggone fast. But then, she, sees him in the tub, and as she getting in, it's like, how'd you get in here so fast? And then John Ma sneaks behind her, takes off his shirt and his shoes and hops in the tub, and he covers his like face with suds just to try to match up with Boomer. And she's like, oh my god. It's like, oh, it's just a mirror. The whole thing is funny. It's one of my favorite scenes in the entire film. It's like I don't know how the hell they get away with this. It's so doggone funny. But then a knock on the door, and it's Barbara, who's looking for Boomer. Then they see that both of them, John Ma and Boomer, together, and but then they realize, okay, Tyson's in trouble. He's been taken by those thugs as a hostage, and they try to go rescue him, and utilizing the whole twin thing, they go to this facility where they build like the cars and test drive the cars for like safety and everything like that. They run inside while trying to escape with Tyson. Boomer is kicking a lot of people's ass, while after they get their ass kicked, they run and like get like shot, like, oh my god, and they think John Ma is Boomer again, because Boomer is like freaking out because he doesn't know how to fight, and he's freaking the heck out. And it's like, there's another favorite part where they go into this place where they wash the car, and then they heat it in the next room, and they go back and forth, and like he's just a scaredy cat. Let me finish him. And then it's Boomer kicking his ass. And it's like this whole entire season is going back and forth in this heating and cooling area, back and forth, back and forth. It's so doggone funny. I still enjoyed it to this day. But then once they leave from both rooms, they come to realize, there's two of these guys, and only one of them can fight. And of course, Boomer gets locked up in like a cage area with one of the guys that he kicked his ass, but is end up locked behind him, and John Ma is stuck with another guy who's about to like bash his head in with his metal thing, and utilizing their twinness stuff, Boomer realized, okay, if when I move, he moves. So he forces Boomer to like move the way he does, but he ends up hurting himself inside the case because it's such enclosed areas. But he has to force himself to turn around in order to do like high jump kicks and everything like that to kick this dude's ass. And then John Ma comes by, unlocks the cage, and to let Boomer out. Then the boss tries to come at these guys, and they end up tripping this guy up, falling into one of the test driving cars without the safety belt, and he ends up dying in the collision course against the wall. And the movie ends with a double wedding with John Ma and Boomer, with Barbara and Tammy. And of course, you see the parents show back up again, now older, and it's like, oh, I do hope it's our other son. And then of course, Boomer gets cold feet, and the rest of the party goes after Boomer and Jama, who's going after Boomer, and they wonder like, okay, who's which one is you, Boomer, and which one is Jama? And they also like just snort because they do this whole snorting thing as like I guess like a quirk, and they go like, and and of course, and it's kind of weird. Even back then as a kid, I thought it was kind of weird. It's like, and it's like, who cares? And they just just leap into, they just pick one and leap into their hands, and it's like, okay, I guess they are really freaky girls because they just like they don't know who they with, but it's like, okay, whoever, it's like just, I guess they like them either ones. It doesn't really matter. You do you. It's still freaking weird. And not kink shame, but it's like a little bit of shame though at the same time. But yeah, that was Twin Dragons. It's a whole lot of fun. Aside from certain things that's like, okay, probably need a little bit elaboration on certain key things. And certain things play out like jumping in somebody's car and you don't know this person, you don't kick them out immediately. Those kind of moments where it's like, okay, you should be explaining to this person like, hey, listen, I don't know why you keep calling me Boomer. My name is John Ma. Like, I don't know, like, know what's going on, but please leave me alone. That kind of thing. Even though they do try to do that, but nobody listens. That kind of stuff. But aside from all that, this is like a fun, just a fun kung fu movie. You'll have a whole lot of fun. You can watch this on YouTube. It's up on YouTube, the English dub version. And you'll get some enjoyment out of this. Twin Dragons is a very fun Jackie Chan movie. Eventually I will cover some more Jackie Chan films down the line. But I also need to cover some Bruce Lee films at some point down the line. Probably next year. This year's kind of filled up with films that I want to review. But anyway, leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think of Twin Dragons. If you've seen this before. If you haven't, definitely check it out. Come and obviously, because it's a spoiler review, you should definitely check out Twin Dragons before you hear this, before I spoil everything. But leave a comment, like, share this with your friends. Follow me in the links in the description below, and I'll see you guys next week for another movie review. And